This
Because
conference will now be recorded.
we're making conditioner and we need like 5 ingredients.
Okay, so you gotta have 5 things here. So
Yeah.
they had 4 things, so you need 5. You got 5 people, 5 or 6 people.
Okay.
So selling price is a multiple of only raw materials and direct labor. Okay, and they
Okay.
use of 2. You can select your own multiple. Then once they had their selling price, they could calculate bad debt 10%, selling price, and selling expenses 20%. So their total variable cost was 400. Their unit contribution margin was 100. Fixed expenses had to exceed these amounts. You had 3 fixed expenses: overhead, administration, capital expenditure budget. And so you borrowed to buy your equipment, and 10% of that was interest. So that became so that became your fixed expense for interest. Then you picked up your administration and your manufacturing overhead. So you got your total expenses for the first year, 427,830. You then
Okay.
put that in the formula to come up with the quantity to lose 100,000, then your quantity to break even, earn 1 million, earn 2 million. So I guess maybe we'll stop at 4 years for you.
4?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many people you got?
6.
Then you have your quarterly assumptions. Okay.
Mhm.
Investment 200, minimum cash 100. So this is all you filling out. So I was not thinking it was going to take that long.
Oh, I yeah.
Okay. So, but you got to have it Wednesday before class.
Okay.
So Wednesday midday. Okay.
Got you.
Any question now on this? What you're supposed to be doing?
No, sir.
You sure?
I'm positive. If not, I have no problem emailing you. But as of right now, I don't have any questions
Then these
or
are those
problems.
assumptions, and you can sort of use these amounts and uh, here your quarterly assumptions, which you eventually need to finish the project. Okay. So
But you don't want that you don't want that part done yet. That last part.
I have to, but it's pretty standard. But I want the
You said
man.
it. You just want.
I want this. I want your Amazon selling fees. I want your ad and logo, and I want your assumptions. So if you want to hold
Okay.
off on this in step 3, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't want to overburden you.
Please don't. That's so nice of you.
Now, so let everybody see this now. Any other questions before I get rid of it? Or maybe I just minimize it.
It's on Blackboard too.
Yeah. All right, so let me just see here.
Did you check your email?
Yeah. Is this what you sent me?
Mhm. But go to like that's just do the production budget. I just had
So
put
what?
that in a little table.
These are quantity solutions here. Can everybody see
Mhm.
that?
I know it wasn't required to fill in for the break even side, but I just had did it anyway.
It actually is required.
Oh, I didn't think. Oh, never mind then. I thought we was only doing the $100,000 part.
Yeah. Okay, so here are your assumptions. You didn't label sheet one. Okay, so let me see what's on your next sheet.
It should be all the yeah. If you go, it's all the way down on the left side.
Well, I'm just kind of looking at everything.
Oh. Oh, and I did end up rounding those numbers where it say for the paper instead of 73,509. If you round everything, you'll get 73,500.
What
So
kind of Excel are you using? Okay, whatever.
no, because at first we did that part in class, but like when I like went back, I didn't I didn't let Excel round, but then once I did it again, it was like, okay, let me try this. If I round the number, it made sense. I just never changed that number.
Now, this is what your quiz is on Wednesday.
Okay.
So is there any question on the sales schedule? Where did the 50
Um,
come from?
how did I get that?
Yeah, where did you get 1,500 from?
Is that
What
no? If I add all that up,
Jenkins? The answer, where
then
did you
that
get
was the.
it from?
Did she just add the sales up from
I
column
was just
one?
about to say, yeah, I added it up. Professor, you be trying to make me second guess myself. It's the total amount from everything I added up.
Learn. And well, where did you get 150 from? I'd be trying to help y'all learn and ask you key questions so you can learn. But see,
Let me pull out my assumptions so I can. It was the sales. Sales was that is 10% of
see this number here?
yeah. Oh yeah, the quantity.
That's why you calculate it. Okay. So the purpose.
This was
So,
stressing me out. So I'm sorry.
because you're not learning, you see, you're guessing and stuff. You're not tying stuff together. The purpose of this sheet is to give you the quantity of sales for the first year to lose 100,000. Okay. So all I want
Hmm.
to get you to make sure you saw that when you came over here to this budget, the first number on this budget is $1,500. Okay, so these are assumptions. Then the first number on here is the 1,500. So that's what I'm trying to get you to see also. Got it?
Got it.
So these are your assumptions. Then you calculate these. You don't add these numbers up. You calculate these numbers based on these percentages. So, but all of that comes off of the 1,500 that you did from your assumptions on the other sheet. Do we understand that? Because if you don't see, when you have your final exam quiz, you won't be able to get started. So does everybody see how we get started now? Does everybody see how we get started?
I
I
was
have
just
to
gonna.
give oh, go ahead, my bad. Go McCaslin.
I was just gonna say I was just gonna rewatch this video.
Well, you can rewatch it, and that's fine. But I want you to know that on this first sheet, we calculate that we've been doing this for 3 weeks now. We calculate the quantity to lose 100,000. Okay? When we get this number, we go over to these budgets, and that 1,500 is the first thing we put down. So it's fine to watch it, but I want you to know this now. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, Dansby?
Oh no, I was just going to point out that it's that you said earlier that Buford, can't guess or was guessing whatever. I just wanted to, pretty much give her props because she do text me like often, and I remember when she was doing, stuff like this or doing this, she was messaging me about how to do it and looked at YouTube videos, and so she don't be guessing. She may get confused at different points, but she do like try her best. She go through all the YouTube videos just like I do. So I give her a props on that. That's all I want to say.
Well,
I,
thank you, Dansby.
I
Well, I'm
agree
just
with
saying facts.
I agree with Dan. In general, that's the case, but I don't ever want her guessing and not knowing.
And that's true, and I respect that as well.
No, when you said that, it made me feel like something was wrong.
But but are you clear on this now?
I'm clear on it.
Okay, that's all I want to make sure.
Okay.
Okay, so
I cannot.
Y'all are funny.
so then we take that. That's why. Okay, you got a quiz on the sales budget on Wednesday,
I know I had that one. I did that one first, but
and
I
so
wasn't paying.
I want success on Wednesday.
Right. I got you. That was the one that I had to do. I made it work. I just,
And this is
give me a
teamwork
break.
on Wednesday. But all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna talk to y'all for a few minutes, then I'm gonna dismiss the class. Then y'all have to work it out. Have y'all,
Right.
and send it to me on Wednesday.
Okay. We got you.
So I won't be in a hand holding. I'm gonna meet with you all for about 15 minutes. Then each team will go their separate way. Get this to me. Are there any questions on any other number on this sales budget?
Is it on the whole thing or just only on sales budget?
The whole thing, but since this is the first budget, I want to make sure you do it. You want to jump somewhere else?
No, I'm just saying because you just sales budget, sales budget. So I was trying to make sure.
If you don't get, it's like this. If you don't have this number right, then all those other budgets are gonna be wrong, basically. Okay. That's why we worked on this, giving you a form to get this number right.
Okay, I understand.
Now you understand. Then when we get here, this budget's got to be right because okay. So we do the sales budget. What budget comes next?
The production.
And what's the top line of production budget?
We have the quantity.
What
We just
quantity?
take those numbers and put it right over here. Same
What
thing. Huh?
what numbers?
150, 300, 450, 600, which equals up to 1,500, your lucky number.
But if the 1,500 is wrong, what does that mean?
That your budget's going to be wrong. Everything is wrong if you don't do it right.
All right. So we pulled those numbers in, made our calculation, had to bring in that prior year, and we said that we have our sales and our desired ending inventory from the prior quarter. We add those to come up with how many we got to produce. We got to produce what we sell in this quarter, plus half of what's due the next quarter. Then we get to the second quarter. got to produce what we sell plus half for the third quarter. But we had 150 already made, so it's 375. So we go through that process, and even though we selling 1,500, we making how many in the first year?
16.
We're making 1,600. Now, where do these numbers go?
Those numbers, those same numbers are going to go on raw materials too.
They're gonna go on both raw materials budget
Mm-hmm.
and the sales budget.
Did those numbers supposed to go on the labor too? Because the labor is the chart that I have a question.
There it is.
Okay, but I
So
have a
what?
question.
Well,
You see how I got? Never mind. Go ahead. Do it. You can still continue. My question is direct labor.
well, we'll be there. So, but you got raw materials, ink and paper.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So tell me about direct labor then.
Okay, so you see how the total for mine is like 6,000. I mean
Mhm.
640,000. Now that is wrong. It's supposed to be 225,000, but I don't know how you got those numbers. Like if you go down to my cash budget, I got those numbers from your other class.
Where did these numbers come from?
Those are the same exact numbers.
Where did they come from?
They
About
came
how?
from your quantity.
So where did those come from?
The quantity, the sales quantity.
No, they came from.
Wait, no, that say 1,600. That came from the production.
All right. So I wanted to. The production numbers then drop down here as the first numbers on ink, paper, and labor. So the top number on labor.
So I put the wrong numbers in for labor.
Well, do you see the top row?
Yeah. So those are the right numbers, right? Or I was supposed to use the quantity numbers.
These are quantity numbers, and that's what we use. Now, the per unit requirement is what? It's more like it's one.
Oh, so we don't use 20.
It's, well, you can use 20. You just got to divide.
Well, if you do 20, but it was really 20. 20 divided by 20 is 1. But I
No.
thought we were supposed to put 20. What you mean no?
All right, let's go to. Let's start. Let's just look here.
Okay.
It says in quarter one you got to produce 300.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that 300 come from?
The quantity.
From what budget?
The production budget.
Okay. Now you can make 20 in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got 300 things to make and you can make 20 of them in an hour, how many hours do you need to work?
So I was supposed to divide?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, can you ask it again, please?
Oh, that's the problem.
You got to
Okay.
make 300 units. You can make 20 in an hour. You can make 20 of those units in an hour. So how many hours will it take to make them?
15. There you go. That was my problem. I couldn't figure it out. It was division.
So whatever is per hour when you get in here,
I didn't know that you were supposed to do the same. Like, even though we divided, you still supposed to divide, but it makes sense.
Makes sense now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So this number should be what?
The next number, that number should be 15. The next number should be 18 point 18.75. The next number should be 20. And then
Wait a minute.
okay.
This
No,
number,
not 20. That number not 20. That number is 26.25. And then the last one is 20.
so it's kind of at the end of the class when we talked about this, that, you know, you're supposed to divide rather than multiply. That's
Yeah, I didn't catch that part. Because when I did it, like the rest of the charts, everything else made sense. And I thought I had everything covered until I got to that cash budget. And that's when stuff was all the way off. So then something just told me to go check your YouTube and you explain that part with your class. So that's how I was able to figure it out. But I still didn't understand how you got the numbers.
you understand now.
I do. So for the total labor, would you just times it? Yeah. Okay.
So you've been overpaying your people.
Well, that ain't good.
Trying to drag that formula over, but it doesn't want to drag.
It's 520.
It's not gonna. I guess it drags down, but not across.
Um,
Oh well. Okay. You says how
oh,
much?
it's 520, and then the next one is 400. Okay, but I still don't see the same numbers that's on the cash budget.
So we add these across. How much is it?
Hmm.
Is that right?
Let me see. What you get? Did you add them
1500.
across?
Yeah.
15. Yeah, I got that too.
So
But
since
that's
this,
not the numbers. That's not on the. Go ahead. Sorry.
we could just copy it and put it on there.
See, but that's the number you had in your class. Those numbers right there.
Those numbers
I
we
got,
had.
yeah, and that's how I got that 693,000. So I was trying to figure out how y'all got those numbers.
All right. Let's look at this again.
Mhm.
For various people. Let's see. So we said this was the labor, correct?
Mhm.
Maybe the wrong numbers got put it down in there.
Well,
Well, we'll let y'all figure it out.
we need to know today if
You
we
know,
got a quiz on this on Wednesday.
well, so y'all figure it out. I agree with that.
Cause when I did the cash budget,
Mm-hmm.
you went through your cash budget with your other class, your Tuesday Thursday class, because I did it with you all, and everything that I got on that chart is what you and your other class got. So when you have class tomorrow and they give you your T accounts and stuff, because that's what y'all left off on, then something gonna be off.
Okay. Let's put your numbers in there. So what's the labor
Let me go back up.
by quarter?
300, 375, 520, 400,
And what's the total?
1595.
Go back to the assumptions quickly.
Yeah, I was supposed to pull that paper out. Because I was trying to check the assumptions too and see.
Labor was $1.
Mm-hmm.
Cost was $1. So we divide it by 1. So therefore, coming back to this budget, so we just put these numbers in and we work it this way.
So we gonna stick to those numbers?
Yeah, I guess we'll stick to these numbers.
Because I'm looking at the master budget part where it tells you like the quarterly sales and desire and an inventory and all that. And I was just I still couldn't figure out how y'all got those numbers. But
Numbers?
hmm,
What numbers now?
I'm trying to see. Well, I'm looking at yours. We will have to do everything over. You have to delete the total payments.
Well, that's just one thing to change. All right. If we add these numbers up, how much do we have? If they'll add up. These the totals you got?
I didn't use those numbers. I'm just following you. You want me to do the same thing? I was trying to make sure.
I added them up.
1 second. $25, 520, 400. Okay, I'm gonna take everything out from here. $200, yep. Well, yeah, Professor, it looked like I am getting the same numbers that you currently have.
Okay, so how much
Is
you
we
got?
gonna round that number to in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter?
I guess it don't look like it's right, but whatever. You can round it.
Yeah, see this. This is a. If that's the case, it's supposed to be 94 and then 83. I'll write this down.
Well, this is supposed to be what?
Supposed to
644?
be.
What's this supposed to be?
Yeah, 644. 260, 644, 296,283, 313,093, 94.
All right, so this will be how much?
Oh, 260,644.
And how much is this one supposed? Is this one correct?
Supposed to be 83 instead of 82. 296,283.
I would like to do that. What is it again? 296 what?
296,283.
Let's say you put those formulas in.
Yeah, mine was messing up too. You probably should just type in the numbers.
Okay, what is it again? 2 what?
296,283.
3.
And then this side is 313,094. 94. There you go.
All right, so now we need to subtract these numbers, right?
Yep. 400 mean 4,925. So I don't know if that's right because that means we would need a loan for this.
That's the purpose. See if you need a loan. You had available what? 230.
Mm-hmm.
And how much do you have?
4,925.
You need to pay 225.
Right. So if you would just take 230,000 minus 225,
How much is that?
4,925.
So how much we got to borrow?
No, you got 49.
It's for what? For
It's 4,925.
so how much we gonna have to borrow?
We would need it to add even out to 100,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
One second. Am I doing just like the simple subtracting that from 100,000?
Yep.
Okay.
Number?
Yeah, 95. Yeah, 5. Wait, how you get 2.5? I got 7.5.
But here,
No, for your short-term loan. Because 100,000 minus
506.
4,000. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that should equal 100,000.
Yes.
Okay. So what's happening in the second quarter?
Oh, hold up. I'm putting my numbers down. Sorry. Okay, so in the second quarter, we got to go back to the numbers. We got to change that up there.
125. So what's this number gonna be? I thought we changed all of these.
We did change that, but I'm saying, do we change the numbers up here or no? That stay the same.
Stay the same.
Oh, one more question. Where did we get these collection numbers? I do remember you telling us that it was 200,000, that was the first, and the 30,000. But I was trying to figure out how we got the rest. Like, where did we get 97? Where did that number come from?
of these collections here. So
From what collections?
that's the purpose of the sales budget. Purpose of the sales budget is to provide you the numbers that go for collection. Okay.
Oh, 97, 165, 230. Oh, okay. But where did we get that 30,000 from? Because I just remember you telling us, and I was trying to look over like the master budget, like part where it was telling us, and I didn't see. I just see selling expense 30%, but I'm like, no, I don't think that would make sense. Where did we get 30,000 from?
Let's see. Could have been, how much was here? What are you
Was
saying,
where?
30? Right here?
Yeah. I remember you gave that to us like when we first started this problem. So I kind of forgot too. I just know I had it written down. But I don't know if it came from, because I was trying to figure out where do we get that $30,000 from? And I checked
Total
the master
sale.
budget. Was it, because I know,
How,
but this, hmm,
how much is this number supposed to be?
what number?
Right here. Total
Right where?
first quarter sales.
Where it say 1,500?
It says
150?
times 500. How much is that?
150 times 500 is 75,000. Was that 30%?
So this supposed to be 75,000.
And what's supposed to be 75,000?
Total credit sales the first quarter.
Right. Do I have
Because
that? Yeah, I got.
it was 750 that was in there for some reason.
Oh, that is terrible.
So
Maybe it was
total
a typo, hopefully.
50.
Okay, so was it 30% of 750?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
Now what's 40%? Didn't we? You're collecting 40%. So what's 40% of 750 or 75,000? This should have been 7,500.
Well, yeah, that's why. Yeah. Okay, I messed up with that.
So
My
this,
number's off. And that should be 30,000.
yeah. But you see, your totals were correct.
I think I had too many numbers in there. So that's where we got that 30. Okay, make a lot of sense. I totally get it. Okay.
Okay.
Um, all right, we can proceed.
So for everyone, just keep in mind that the purpose of these budgets is, first of all, to the last number gives us the number going on this cash budget. And so for receipts, 30,000, that, that's how it's coming on quarter. So when we get to the cash budget, we got 30,000, and we're trying to determine whether we got to borrow money. We do have to borrow money. What happens next?
Okay, next is it will be negative 63,144.
Minus 63. So how much you got to borrow?
163,000 and 144.
That's gonna get us to the 100,000.
Yes.
So we'll come back up again with 265.
And then we got 296, 283. That will give us negative 31,283. And the next number will be a negative 131,283. I mean, not negative 131,000. I didn't mean to say negative.
That gets us back to 100,000. We have 100,000 again in the beginning cash balance. We collect with 233, 33, 32, 5. Our payments are 313,094. So we got a little bit extra. How much extra we got?
19,406.
So how much we got to borrow?
Oh, 98. Why you got 80? How you get 80?
I want to bid 100, and I got 19. So what number is going to move me to 100,000?
Oh, it would be 80,594.
Okay. Okay. So we add all of these up, and we ended up borrowing 479.
Yeah. Okay, that means I gotta change a journal entry in.
So where your journal entries at?
Go JE. You look down.
Where are these journal entries at?
You see them? They right there.
Oh, these journal entries.
That's what I thought they was.
Okay.
They were at the bottom, the cash budget. I just did them like individually and not to like all together, so I could stay focused and make sure I was like.
Or the collections 525. Where the collections 525. Yeah. Okay. So as I look at the journal entries, okay, you
470.
have these.
470.
Labor, that should be how much we said. Direct labor.
Direct labor. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to change those too. So direct labor should not be that much. Direct labor should be like 1595, right? Yeah, 1595. Direct labor has to be changed. 1595. So direct labor one and then the cash budget one. And the cash budget one is 470,096.
So 475.96.
You said 75.
I asked you.
470. Oh, 470. 470,096.
096.
096. Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay, so that explains why I had more. No, yeah, maybe. Yeah, that explains why I had ended up having more on my cash side, on the credit side than 640. I knew something was off. Okay, let me just change this. 096. I'm just changing a T account under cash.
Okay. Where's your trial balance at?
Go to sheet 2. So you see how my number was under cash? Cash was on credit side, and I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
But now I did the calculation because I had to change that 470 and that 1595. So now it's 100,001.
So you're off by $1. I guess we'll let you have that.
I'm off by $1.
Mm-hmm. Why is you off
Well,
by
maybe it's the 96 because it's 200,525 and then 470.96.
This says your ending balance is 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you're off by $1 somewhere.
I'm telling you how I got that $1. I mean the
How'd you
90.
get that
I don't
$1?
know. Let me see. 1595, 60, 225, 160, 500. Go to the T account under cash and you can see. And the class can see too. Right there. So if you go to the cash part and you change that 640, the cash part. So if you change that 640,000 to 1595 and you change that 693,000, yep, right there. 693, 501. If you change that to 400, 70096, then you'll see how I got that. And you just switch it to the other side. So that's how I got that one. How? Don't know.
You're doing that rounding. Did you
But
follow
it's like
your own interest?
I only one I rounded was the 73,500. You're gonna end up with way, yeah. Okay.
So
Do you
what's
think it's because we round those numbers?
yeah, that'll throw you off. That's why you have to.
So it's probably not good to round.
You just have to consistently round. See, we add these numbers 5 and 12, 16. So we're off $1. Where would your dollar be? Where would your dollar be?
Let me see. Was we supposed to round this or not? Let me see.
Okay, the total is off by $1. So some number is off by $1.
Mhm.
Okay, here's a problem here. You got 260, 644,
Mhm.
4375. This is for some reason, then we come in here. That's 282, 50. So your problem comes in here that you got these numbers, but somehow you rounded your totals.
Oh, I wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause I was first trying to figure out, but I was supposed to round that if it's 44.
So
Um,
you're somewhere.
yeah,
We see where it is.
somewhere in there. I
Mm-hmm.
think it come from
But whatever you
it's
got,
something to do with like that raw material and paper with those two. I honestly think it's the raw materials because remember I rounded that, but I didn't keep. I never switched the numbers.
you didn't carry your rounding through, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's the raw materials paper that's affecting it. Like that's supposed to be the number, but at first, if you go back up, you see that I have like 73,509. Did I change it?
Oh, you just changed it.
I end up well because I rounded it, but I did it on paper.
Ah, okay. So, well, clear your rounding out. Get, take care of that dollar.
Yeah, it's something with that.
All right.
Because it's whatever it is, it's in the cash T accounts because that's where all those numbers come from. Mostly all the numbers come from, especially for the raw materials. So we could we could ignore it.
How much were your short-term loans?
Oh, now we gotta switch that. 470,096. And then we put this for 100,000. Take this out. And I don't put the manufacturer overhead on the trial balance account, do I?
Yes, you're not balanced.
Okay, so we add that. That's another one that I was trying to figure out if I was supposed to add that or not. I
That's
didn't
good.
add that on this one.
Remember,
It's
it's not,
100,000.
so you got to have that in there. Sure,
You
it's
said
separate.
so it would be 100,000 on the debit side. Oh my God!
I think somebody's house is on fire. Not to,
That's it.
be Captain Obvious.
Let me mute that. I think that's just a test. That is annoying.
So how much is the MOH?
supposed to be 100,000. Sorry, my bad. I'm gonna leave out because this is just ridiculous.
I mean, you should probably go investigate, to make sure it's not like the actual fire, and you're not
Well,
just sitting there in class about
that's
to.
Leave the house because I don't know if this.
Because I would hate for you to be in class and fire break into your building or your room.
And then my apartment burned down.
Bless her heart. She talking to us and everything, and all I hear is the alarm.
This is the stupidest thing ever, and it better not be a real fire.
That better not be a real.
This is annoying. I don't see nothing on. I don't see nothing on fire.
She is funny. That better not be a real. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, Dr. Boyd. I don't have my computer because I'm under these current circumstances, but I have my phone, so we can continue.
you went out. You outside. You have some inventory left over. To your account. Okay. Okay, so I think that for the inventory, for the overhead that's in this inventory, let's see where. Well, it's not the overhead, it's the labor. Let's see where we can get this labor correct. Great. So we put the inventory in now. So what are our totals looking like? Why are we off so much?
That is a huge difference.
Well, okay, here we go. Let's finish inventory down here. So let me delete this one.
Let's see. So let's go see this gross
Take
margin.
out our inventory, put in this one. We're now at what?
Interest. It's hard to navigate. Interest and interest. Okay.
Oh, let's see. Uh-oh, this allowance is on the wrong side. So this should be on the credit side. See, bad debt as a debit, but then the allowance account would have a credit. So what does that have us now?
Let's see.
Clear these contents. Bring the auto sum to here.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah. So you have to be careful with Excel when you put formulas in. If you stop it here and start asking, sometimes it won't do what we need to do. So I've done all y'all work for y'all, right?
Yeah, for the most part. Question. So with allowance bad debt and bad debt, so bad debt would be debited, whereas allowance be credited. Why?
Correct.
What's the but like what's the reason behind that?
Look at the journal entry.
Let me see.
You debited bad debt expense and
Yeah,
credit
I
allowance.
see it.
Expense, this is the contra asset account,
Right.
value account receivable at its appropriate amount.
Yeah, I see it. I see what. Yeah. Okay.
So now when we look at the sales, 600, subtract these expenses, 600. 225, 100. Oh, we need an MOH in here. Let's put an MOH in. So here you see the gross margin 600.
Mm-hmm.
Then these expenses are 700. So what's this number going to be?
Let me bring up the calculator.
Shouldn't be that hard.
Well, no, I mean, I have to use two different phones.
6 is what?
7 to 6 is 100. Well, one. But so with that,
Roseanne
hold up, wait, give me a sec. All right,
comes to minus 100,000, right?
correct.
Now, then beginning to enter in a zero, you put that minus 100,000 in here.
Let's see.
Okay, so let's go back to where we started. On this sheet, we said what? If we sold 1,500, there'd be a net loss of minus 100. Remember we said that a long time ago?
Yeah, and I also saw it earlier today.
So once we get back in here, all the way over to sheet 2, when we do this income statement, it's got to show this minus 100.
Okay.
So that's one thing we want, we always want to see. And then the cash here is supposed to be the same.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know what happened. I was having some technical difficulties and I couldn't hear you.
So you can hear?
I couldn't hear you. Mm-mm. Could you
Oh,
hear
you?
me when I was at?
No, we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, you was off. Everything got situated at your apartment.
Yeah, it was a test. I just came back in. I was downstairs.
Okay.
What a joke. They could have informed someone. Like,
They probably emailed y'all.
they just emailed us once it shut off and I came back up here.
Oh,
They
that's
said,
crazy.
"Oh, our fire company's here doing a test." Like, you should have been said that.
Yeah,
Or a
that's crazy.
warning would have been nice.
All right, beautiful.
Okay.
Move the allowance of bad debts. You had it on the debit side. We put that on the credit side.
The allowance bad. Oh, that's supposed to go on the debit side?
Credit
No,
side.
the
Or
credit.
credit side. Okay.
Yeah, from the journal entry,
And
you can see it.
and then did you change
MOA,
finished goods?
finished goods. We changed that to 99.95. And we did all of that. Then your totals equal out.
Okay, wait, let me see. Let me see. Since I'm like so behind.
So behind.
It's not my fault though. They trying me today.
Gotta be
It's
somebody's
Monday. Well, we're gonna blame District at Memorial. It's their fault.
So this is what you're supposed to have. When we have that, then we do this income statement. Look what we have on the income statement.
Let me see. I'm trying to. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Inventory. I don't know why I put finished goods instead of inventory. Um,
it doesn't matter. It's finished goods inventory.
6,212. Oh, but when you oh, okay, okay, okay. What about the all right, I'm all for it.
You just gotta go find your dollar now.
We gonna let that dollar be.
You know, it's a lot of money.
We balanced out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Okay, so this is all we have to do tomorrow, right? How long you giving us? What's the time frame?
Oh my goodness.
I need to prepare for this.
But tomorrow is Tuesday anyway.
Right. Wednesday.
On Wednesday, you're supposed to have your assumptions in, and you're supposed to be able to do this. But then by Friday, you got to do the whole thing.
What's Friday?
Friday, you have to do the whole first year. So let's talk about how we're gonna lay this out.
Okay, before you do that, can you go right back to that trial balance so I can screenshot that?
No, I'm not gonna do that.
You said no? But I was going through I was in a situation that I didn't want to be in.
I don't know why you need to screenshot it when you should figure it out yourself.
Professor, I was trying to I couldn't hear you. I brought my phone down. I was still in class in the middle of a fire drill. I really should get an A for effort for that.
I'm just trying to help you be better off if you found this yourself.
I know, but I still just trying to figure it out because please, Professor.
It's on there now. Do you see it?
Yes. Unless Excel is just not working for me because that is not the number I got. Let me figure this out.
So you have bad debts on the wrong side, the allowance. You had the wrong number in for inventory.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have
and I didn't have what?
MOH.
Okay, I have that in now. And the numbers just ain't looking right. They're not even. Let me put.
Well, take your picture, see if you can find it.
Well, I have the exact same thing as. Oh no, I don't. I don't. I don't. Never mind. I really don't. I got stuff on the wrong side. This is a real mess.
Well, I tell you. And you need to put those accounts in what order?
I know. I know. By asset, liabilities, equities, then expenses.
So that's what I want to see from now because it makes it even harder to find it when you don't do that.
Yeah.
Now, so Wednesday before class, each team is supposed to do this, complete this, have this ready. What time did I tell you all have this on Wednesday?
You said 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock before class. You said 3.
Try to have this at least by 3 so I can look at it.
This or
yeah.
okay. You want the balance sheet too?
Wait a minute. You see?
Let you see.
But do you see what's on the screen now?
Let me see.
This is the project part 2.
Oh, you want that? I'm looking at. Never mind. See, I'm so thrown off because of that situation.
We know. So you got to have it by 2 o'clock. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you have this ready, using these numbers.
What numbers?
From your project.
Okay.
Do you have what I'm saying?
We got to use negative 100,000.
Yes.
For our beginning. That's the only number, right? But you said numbers with an S, so I was kind of confused.
You got to come and do this based on your assumptions, okay?
Yeah, we have to do that, right? With our
Yep.
assumptions. But we're not
Yes.
gonna have the same numbers.
I know. I said with your numbers.
Oh, okay.
But you still have to come up to a net loss of 100,000 with your numbers. So what quantity with your numbers will produce a net loss of 100,000? Got that, Dansby?
Yes, sir.
And you do your break even. So you got to do these two things based on your assumptions. Then you're going to come over here, and all I want you to have done in class is the sales budget.
Oh,
So
just the sales budget.
okay.
Okay.
But then on Friday, you got to come through and do everything else.
Okay.
So by the end of the day on Friday or Saturday, I want all of this done. So
Wow.
journal entries,
Mm.
the accounts. Well, I mean, you might get all of this done on Wednesday, beautiful.
Please, Professor, you are really trying to wear my brain out. I don't even think I have a brain left. Probably a half a brain.
Jenkins can do, like I said, Jenkins can do all the raw materials budget for you.
Right.
All you all are doing is with your numbers, doing the same thing we've done.
Yeah,
So it just,
I think we're gonna do a very good job. I think we're gonna handle it.
and remember, it only took us about an hour or two to do this. Something you're saying all of this work, but it's not.
It's not. Whatever you say, Professor.
So the project part 3 will be due on Tuesday of that last week.
Okay.
Monday, or
What?
is it actually you time? Okay, so it's gonna actually be due on Tuesday.
On the 27th?
That's when it's really due.
Okay.
Okay.
But you know, since I like to give y'all a whole lot of leeway, so y'all can be late and whatever.
Oh my God.
But on Tuesday, you'll be on your next 25 points on your project.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
The last day of class is what?
so what I'm telling you is that on Wednesday, you got a 10-point quiz just on this with your numbers. But of course, you got to complete this. So with your numbers, you got to complete this, and then you got to come in and do just the sales budget. So is that clear?
So the quiz is the sales budget?
Yep,
Okay.
for your project. Then the following Monday, you have to have a full first year done. So I said Friday, but
Okay.
it's got to have a full first year done by next Monday.
Well, what's due Tuesday?
We don't have class on Tuesday.
No, you right. See, my brain is just not.
Then on the following Wednesday,
Which is the last day of class?
I'll look at your projects, and then you'll have a test final exam.
On the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
What's the final gonna
Also, last day is yeah, that's the last day
be?
of
Is the
school.
5th.
Got it.
You're
All
not
right.
letting us exempt? Do I have to take your final?
Yeah.
Professor, why are you not keeping the same energy you had in accounts 1, principles 1? Because you let people exempt.
Normally, I would have a third exam, so I eliminated that third exam.
Oh wow. Okay.
which a lot of
So
people with. So I eliminated that third
I'm
exam.
cool with that. I'm cool with that too.
So you'll see what the final looks like. And guess what the final looks like?
This.
This.
Yep.
Okay.
We told
Can we get
smart.
the final on you gonna give us the final on Wednesday, or you gonna give it to us like a day in advance?
Whatever, Buford. But
Because I can just, get it done and over with.
Besides, May 5th is a holiday.
what holiday is that? But anyway,
They go to Maya.
on well, our finals on May 5th. Y'all that far ahead?
Oh yeah, that's in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the reason everybody needs to do a year is because they got to do it on the final.
Okay. Oh
That's why
boy.
everybody do a year, because they don't have to do a year on that final by themselves. Now, if you've got this laid out appropriately for the first year, put formulas in, then that person is just making this calculation, making this quantity calculation, and then proceeding through with that quantity, just like we did here. So the team is doing it now for the sales budget on Wednesday. Then by the following Monday, you're supposed to have a full first year done for your team. Then everybody will practice on that Wednesday on doing all of this by yourself. But if you have worked on your year by yourself, then you should be able to do that by yourself. Or if you got issues, we'll see. So we'll do a practice exam. And then we may have to practice again on Friday. If the practice is not going like we want, then we practice again the Friday, the last Friday, in the last week of classes. So you make sure you're where you need to be. Got it?
Yes,
Got it.
sir.